Life is way too short to focus on all that's wrong with the world. I'm Thomas Roberts.
We love you. We see you. We hear you. We know you're there. So thank you for doing this, Thomas.
This is Gay Good News. Give me 30 minutes and I'll give you a rainbow. Hey everybody, how's it going? Isn't that a nice open? It is Thursday, July the 2nd, 2020, and welcome to GGN. This is our new time slot after getting out of Pride, which I think we did a great job successfully keeping you company and informed during Pride. We are now going beyond Pride because GGN doesn't need the confines of just June. So we're really happy to tell you that we're going to be keeping up every week on Thursday at 5 o'clock. You can find us right here, and we are going to be telling you all the best, all the gayest, all the goodest news that there is. And I got a haircut. It's all gone. A lot of the brown was cut out too, which is a problem. But I think it looks nice. Ricky did a nice job. Hopefully you've had a nice work week. I know it's only been a couple of days since we've had the opportunity to see one another, but we do have a lot to catch you up on. First things first, though, want to catch everybody up on news that came out of Atlanta yesterday about Pride. Typically, Pride is held here in October because of the hot weather. It had been in June, but they decided to move it a couple years back just to make it nicer for everybody to be outside, and because Piedmont Park was used and the parade is such an important component to the celebration. So the committee announced yesterday that Pride will be canceled in October. Now, this is due to concerns of COVID-19, and I think that we're going to be seeing this happening to a lot of different events that we expect to be held annually, or things that we had planned in 2020 would happen, whether that be professionally or personally, because of an uptick in COVID-19 cases. But that's all right. Don't worry about that. That's why we are here for you. Gay Good News was invented to make sure that you are covered and feel that you have a home for Pride, no matter what, no matter where. But that is a big deal. And a lot of people yesterday hadn't heard the word. When this news was announced, it was about 10 a.m. in the morning that it happened. But last night I hit the streets to get reaction, to find out what people feel and think about this big change that's coming our way. Take a look.
Federico, are you surprised that Pride got canceled, or did you anticipate that?
No, I was expecting it to happen because of the whole COVID situation, but I think it was a smart move, because for everybody's safety, it's better if we don't get together that way, but we can get together different ways and still celebrate everything about Pride. And I think being gay is not only about the Pride day or the Pride event, it's about being Pride every day and proud. So that's it.
For virtual events, however they plan it to be, would you participate in virtual events?
Yeah, that's an insane waste of time and effort to kind of have a second chance sweepstakes or second chance participation trophy of Pride. I'm not going to do a Pride participation trophy. It's done. Let's go 2021 and just see what happens.
But honestly, until we get a vaccine, it's probably the best thing for it.
You're not surprised?
I'm not surprised.
In fact, did you do anything for June Pride?
For what? No, we stayed on our couches and did nothing for June Pride.
Thank you, Kurt. Are you surprised to hear that Pride's canceled for October?
I just found out now. I'm not really happy.
Why?
Because it's canceled. What do you mean why? I want to go play. I feel like I get it, I guess. I understand, but it's like taking a toy away from a kid. Why? I still want to play.
Did you do anything for June Pride?
I did everything for June Pride. I'm not really sure but I did everything. I celebrated.
Are you surprised to hear that it's canceled, or did you expect it?
I am not surprised, but I was really hopeful that they weren't going to cancel it. I guess due to popular opinion, it makes sense, but I'm kind of on the fence whether they should have or not.
Maximilian, how do you feel about Pride being canceled?
Look, Pride started as a riot, and if we have to cancel Pride this year and the safety of public health, then that's absolutely fine. I think we'll have so many more to celebrate, and at the end of the day, we need to know what's best for our community right now.
Are you surprised it got canceled, or did you expect it probably would?
Totally expected it, but I think that there's other ways we can celebrate, and I think that we just have to get creative as a community to celebrate it in a different way, so in a different light. And I think that's up to our community now to figure out a way to do that in a fun, exciting way. Here's the thing, we already still had June, which was Pride Month, and we celebrated it already. Atlanta is very unique and wanting to do it in October, and we'll find a way to tackle that when it comes around. So
That's right, Maximilian. We will. And as you heard there, Michelle had a great June. I'm pretty sure she knew where she was last night, but she sounds like she had a really good June Pride. She was disappointed. She hadn't heard the news. So last night we were at a bar called Wolf's, a sports bar in Atlanta, and made the rounds there asking questions of the patrons, and Michelle had no idea. So that was her genuine reaction. You saw right there for the first time as she was just learning about that. But we will, of course, keep you posted if there are any changes. But as Tony Kearney was telling us, who was chiming in, that Pride changed in 2009. Typically, it had been celebrated in the month of June, and then it shifted to October in 2009. But it was going to be a big deal because this is the 50th anniversary of the celebration for Pride-style festivals and parades. That is a big impact. It was going to be October 11th through the 13th. And there is a major festival that takes place in the park, as well as the parade, which hundreds of thousands of people turn out for and come to town for. And I'm not talking about just like people outside of the city come in town. People out of state come here because Pride is so great. So it is a big, financial driver for the city as well, a big income earner. But we're going to get through this. We're going to get through it together. Like I said, that's why Gay Good News is here. This I wanted to show you because this will certainly brighten your day. And not seen very often, but a double rainbow. Look at that. A double rainbow captured over the skies of Toronto. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it's very rare to be able to see that. But if you get pictures like this, please feel free to send them in to me at Gay Good News. You can do that through our Facebook page, or you can actually go on GAYGOODNEWS.com, and there's a section there where you can send us tips and suggestions. So make sure to check that out. Also, while you're on that website, look for our face masks. All right, take a look at this. Wait, I think we need something important for this. Let's see. Where's my horn? No, I don't think my horn's working. Come on. No. Wait. That was better. All right. So, ta-da! Our face masks. There is Mom, and there's Aunt Pat and Uncle Alan. So I had face masks sent to them, and they got them today. And I said, come on, put them on really fast and take a picture and send them in. And so they got them on and sent them to me, and I think they look very good. Very good. Anyway, all you have to do is go to GAYGOODNEWS.com, and you will find it there. There's a little product section. It's the only thing on the site that's for sale. But you should be able to find it there. Aunt Pat found it. You should be able to find it. I told my mom she looked like she might be a hostage with that on, because she looks a little shocked. But anyway, I appreciate my models for sending in those pictures. But you too, send in your pictures once you get your face masks, and we'll get you on the air here at Gay Good News. Now, this next story is totally amazing. And it's about a woman that wanted to get on the air with us during June Pride, but our schedules, we just couldn't match up. She has an amazing backstory, and she is an incredible advocate, activist for the LGBTQ community, but but she also has a very special interest when it comes to the community in and of itself, as she is Asian, and feels that there is great stigma for Asian members of the LGBTQ community to be seen, to be heard, to be respected in their own families. And she has taken it upon herself to draw attention to that and to make big changes. Take a look. This is amazing. So hard to make it work to get you on during June Pride, so I'm so glad that you're on the very first episode as we jump out of Pride and as we keep this show going for 2020. Amazing. It's great to see you.
Oh, so good to speak to you, Thomas. Thank you.
And I've been fascinated by your story. Just reading up on you, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, especially your very humble beginnings.
Sure. I think I have, obviously quite a unique story. I grew up in an all-white background, so I was always very different from all the other kids. And I spent my formative years in Australia, in an all-white suburb. I was bullied constantly as a kid, just for my difference, but also, with my sexuality, I was very confused inside in terms of how I felt. But I never saw an Asian person on TV, and I never saw an LGBTQ person. So I didn't know the word to the feeling that I had. And I think a lot of LGBTQ kids go through this, particularly Asian kids, because we just don't see a mirror image of ourselves. So I got a lot of bullying, a lot of racism, a lot of gay slurs, even though the kids didn't know my sexuality. They just knew I was something different. And I think a lot of kids just use the gay slur anyway, because they know it hurts. And obviously it hurts much more if you are from that community.
Yeah, it cuts deep. It cuts very deep. One thing though I love in reading your bio is that you identify as rainbow. Explain what rainbow means.
I do. And for me, I never used to use that term, but when I started a number of years ago doing a lot of community work in Vietnam, I noticed the youth there had taken back the word queer and rainbow. And I thought that was really interesting. And I love the term rainbow because I feel now the spectrum of sexuality and gender is so wide. I don't really feel that we fit into these 4 letters. And then the acronym is different depending on the region that you're in. And I think it's a bit of a mouthful. And I just feel rainbow is everything and anything under the rainbow. And it's so much easier to say.
No, and it feels warm to say it. It feels good to say it. It brings just a pleasant feeling. I know when we think about rainbows, I mean, everybody loves a rainbow. So I just think that's very cool. Now your work as an adult, and you are spread pretty thin because you do a lot. But one of the things that I love about you is that you are an ambassador for Athlete Ally. And Hudson Taylor, I've known Hudson since he started Athlete Ally. Explain the work that you're doing for them.
Sure. So I became their first Asian ambassador in 2014. And for me, it's all about, of course, one, challenging homophobia and transphobia in sports, but using Athletes Allies global platform and the platform that I have as an activist to champion Asian LGBTQ inclusion in sports, because we're even just Asian athletes at the pro level, we're just so invisible. And in terms of being Asian and LGBTQ, there are just so many unique challenges that we face along that journey to get to pro level. And then thinking of coming out after that, they need a champion like myself, because when you're an athlete, sometimes you don't want to raise your voice because you're not quite sure in terms of your job prospects afterwards. And also if you have any sponsors as well, and not all athletes are activists either.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of a sticky wicket when you think about it, of being a pro athlete, and you want to concentrate on your sport, you want to concentrate on your instrument, your body, and your skills, And it's not always the easiest to take a political stand, and that's for anything. But especially when it comes to dealing with issues of being gay or lesbian or even bisexual.
No, absolutely. And it can be a very challenging space to be in when you're one of one on the field and you don't see yourself anywhere and you don't feel like you have the support system. And for me, I remember that kid of when I was, playing sports as a kid and in my youth and not seeing myself and being bullied and having gay slurs. And I, the activism that I do today, I think, I need to, because Asian kids and Asian professional athletes are still going through it. And I have this amazing platform to champion change and to change hearts and minds.
Why do you think that there is kind of a taboo within Asian culture to discuss issues of sexual identity?
Within the Asian community, it's always been a taboo in terms of discussing any kind of social issue, because, well, if I don't talk about it, it will go away and then it doesn't exist.
Right.
And, within our community as well, shame and failure are used so much around the Asian person in terms of making them conform, because we're such a conformist community and we have very strict, gender norms as well. And heaven forbid if you're anything else but straight, because it would be seen as such a failure to yourself, such a failure to your parents who've worked so hard. And then what could your family say to the community? And when I think of coming out, it's very much seen as a Western ideology, because in the Asian community, ever since you're born, it's about coming home and what you're doing for the family.
Yeah. The I guess religious the religious overtones for Asian culture is not so. I mean, while it's baked in there and very important, it's not like it is here in the States, so to speak, where religion seems to be the major influence for stigma or shame associated with being LGBTQ. If I'm understanding you correctly, it seems like there's just the family structure within the Asian community, that paradigm is the influence that would bring stigma and shame.
Absolutely. It's all about the family structure and tradition and the cultural root more than religion, because for the most part, many Asian communities, we come from a Buddhist community. Yes, some are Christian, but for the most part, it's around the family unit.
Do you feel through your life and through your work and your example that you're kind of a magnet for people that are in the closet, athletes and those within the Asian community that come to you as a resource to try and help them bridge that, say, last obstacle of being integrated and being out?
Sure. And I do get lots of people come to me now, and I think because I'm so visible and I'm so vocal and I've been so much of an open book as well in terms of my own experiences and my own story, because to be brave, you have to be very vulnerable. And it takes a long time to get to that place as well. And for, many people within the LGBTQ community, particularly ethnic groups, sometimes we never get there.
So the work that you're actively working on for 2020, the events that you were involved with specifically for Pride, did you find yourself more active because things were virtual than you would have been if you were attending events this year?
This has been my busiest Pride ever that I've ever had in my life. I mean, if there's been a silver lining with the pandemic, it's been that everyone has been needing to speak to someone like myself with these very unique experiences, because through the pandemic, we had the coronavirus racism directly targeted at the Asian community. I feel that a lot of organizations, particularly through the Black Lives Matter movement and companies, have really pivoted in terms of their discussions around race and, what it is to come from a marginalized community and what they can do better. So, and also, through the virtual space, I've been able to sit from my living room and connect to the entire world and have these global conversations around equality and around, obviously, what it is to be Asian and LGBTQ and the challenges and barriers that we face. I mean, I just partnered with the UK Embassy, and I was part of a conversation, in China a couple of days ago for their, Pride Month. So it's been really interesting. And I think as well, coming out of the pandemic, we have to decide what kind of brave new world do we want to see. And sport now is suddenly opening up, and we're seeing this athlete activism that we've never seen before. And I think, we have to keep this momentum going as we look towards Tokyo 2021.
Are you surprised, though, that with the amount of attention and the amount of emphasis that has been put on institutions and culture to provide tolerant and safe spaces for athletes, that we haven't seen more athletes rise to that challenge and want to come out while they're actively playing, as opposed to waiting until they're done on the field?
Sure. I mean, I think a lot about the work that I do and all the championing that I do, and the special, very unique moment that we're in now, where so many sports are starting, and they're starting with taking a knee. And I think this would be the right time to start coming out, because the world has shifted and hearts and minds have changed, and the amount of support that you would have in this point. But it just shows that even though we feel that we've come so far, there's so much work that we need to do to get there. So more, particularly athletes from minority groups. And I really believe that also comes down to allyship, that, me as an Asian LGBTQ athlete, I can share my story all day with you, but you still need to champion me when I'm not in the room, because I can't do that for me.
No, it is we need each other as much as we need our straight allies in this world to give us the confidence to be out and to continue raising our voices while visible. Amazing. I am so glad to have met you. I really appreciate you making time for me, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to be up to for the rest of 2020 and beyond. So what website can we find you on?
Sure. You can go to www.amazonletty.com, and I'm across all social media at amazonletty.
Perfect. All right, my dear. Thank you very much. I appreciate you making time for Gay Good News.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, Thomas. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Isn't she fantastic? And an incredible story. If you go to her website and you read about her, she was born in Saigon, and she was left by her mother in an orphanage as a baby and adopted by an Australian family. And that's how she's had this tremendous life. And it has really shaped her into the drive that we witnessed there in that interview, but really shaped her into the type of human she wants to be as an adult and how she wants to help. And she gives back and is involved in so many different projects. You have to go to her website, check it out, because you'll see for yourself. There's also a major project she's involved with that's coming. It had to be postponed this year because of COVID-19 issues that'll be coming next year. But she's really cool. So I hope we have her back again in the near future. Also, Athlete Ally. I think you heard us talking about that. That was founded by Hudson Taylor. Now, Hudson is someone I used to have on my MSNBC show all the time, especially when we were talking about homophobia in sports. But he was a Division I athlete. He was a wrestler at the University of Maryland. Not gay, but he wanted to stand up for his college buds that were coming out. So he put an HRC sticker on his headgear, and it got national media attention. And then he realized that there was this big space that needed help, this void when it comes to addressing homophobia in sports. And that's when he started Athlete Ally, and he has had some amazing success with that program. You should check out his website as well. He's a great guy too, really good guy. And his wife, Leah, they are salt of the earth, good folks. So check it out. You might find something there that inspires you to want to donate. So now, I'm very excited about the schedule, the schedule that we're running, because we're going to be coming to you weekly, every Thursday at 5 o'clock. And do we have somebody cool for you next week? Very cool. They are all the rage on YouTube, and they are, keeping it all in the family. Take a look.
Hey, I'm Penn Holderness.
I'm Kim Holderness.
We're really psyched to be on Gay Good News with Thomas next week.
Okay, see you then.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so the Holderness family, if you haven't heard of them, you should go to YouTube and look up some of their videos. They became really popular a couple of years ago when they did a parody video. I think it was around Christmas time. But they get like 20 million people, 25 million people looking at their parody videos. And they both worked in local news. And anyway, they've made a whole career out of doing these creative parodies that are hilarious. I wrote to Penn, or I didn't know I was writing to Penn, but I was writing to their website and their team, and saying how I wanted to have them on our show. And Penn wrote back to me today saying, I know who you are, and we'd love to be on your show, and I'm a fan of 30 Rock, and I could recite all your lines from your cameos on 30 Rock. And he actually wrote one of my lines from a season on 30 Rock. It was just odd and funny, and a tidbit that I wanted to share with you. That is going to do it for today. I think that's going to do it for today. Let me look at my notes. That's going to do it for today because we're out of time. But join me next Thursday and have a great 4th of July. Just take time, to be with family or be with friends, and know that you have people in your life that love and support you. It's a weird time, I know, but we'll get through this together. And know that Gay Good News is here for you too. I'm here for you. All right? Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye.